Hello learners, this is the second segment of lecture 47 and in this segment we will be looking at one of the cases that were filed against Argentina. So the case that we will be looking at is CMS versus Argentina. So CMS again had invested in the gas sector, so primarily it challenged the gas tariffs that were imposed by Argentina, but then there were many other measures that Argentina adopted in order to respond to the economic emergency, and CMS amended its claim to challenge those measures as well. So primarily what is that we are interested with regard to this particular case is how plea of necessity was invoked. Now as I have already discussed in the previous video, there was one provision in US Argentina BIT that spoke about non-precluded measure as well, right? NPM clause was also there. How did the tribunal look at these particular clauses? Now, before the tribunal substantially engages into the discussion of plea of necessity, first thing was the tribunal had to see whether there was a severe economic crisis or that existed. And we do see that the claimants and the Argentina, both of them, claimant and Argentina, had submitted many evidence with regard to the situation that existed in Argentina. So the tribunal, on the preponderance of evidence, concluded there was severe economic crisis of catastrophic proportions that was there, and it caused grave and imminent peril, and all of that was there. But one of the contention is that the claimant stated that if there was any other alternative way to address the crisis that is there, then the state cannot preclude the wrongfulness of the measure that it had adopted. In this regard, the claimant stated that instead of pacification, dollarization could be done or direct granting of subsidies to the affected stakeholders. So there were many other measures that could have been undertaken by Argentina rather than enacting or taking these measures. This was the claimant's contention. Tribunal cautioned that it is not the scope of the tribunal to review or to talk about the legitimacy of the proposed measures, but the tribunal referred to Article 25 of Articles on State Responsibility and stated that there it was stated that if there was any alternative methods available, no matter however costly or inconvenient that is, then plea of necessity cannot be taken. So the tribunal also relied on that in the context of Article 25 of Articles on State Responsibility. Interestingly, the claimant brought in one more argument under Articles on State Responsibility, that is, you see there was a requirement. If you recall what we discussed in the previous lecture when we discussed about Article 25, Article 25 second paragraph talks about the existence of two conditions where plea of necessity cannot be invoked, and so Article 25 2A spoke about the fact that if the international obligation itself precludes the possibility of or taking the defense of excludes the taking the defense of plea of necessity, then in that circumstances Article 25 cannot be invoked. So in short, the claimant stated that when there was an international obligation that stated that you cannot take the defense of necessity, then Article 25 of Articles of State Responsibility cannot be invoked. And in that context, what the claimant stated was, here there was an international obligation that did not allow Argentina to invoke the plea of necessity in case of economic situations, economic crisis. And how did the claimant arrive at this conclusion? The claimant looked at, there was one provision in US Argentina BIT, Article 4.3. So 4.3 stated that contracting parties cannot afford no less favorable treatment to the investors of the contracting party than it gives to its own nationals as well as to investors from third countries, even in situations like war, armed conflict and all of that. Right. So the claimant here stated that while looking at this particular provision, Article 4.3 of US Argentina BIT, and the object and purpose of the BIT, which was to afford certain protections to the investor, the claimant argued that there exists an international obligation that excludes the possibility of invoking the defense of necessity, and surprisingly the tribunal accepted this contention of the claimant and stated that since the treaty itself puts an obligation on Argentina to provide protection to investment even in economic crisis as well. So this is the conclusion that the tribunal arrived at. But then the tribunal stated that it will still look at how grave these emergency situations are of, and then it looked at the evidence that were submitted by both the parties. In fact, the operation of the meaning and the scope of these clauses were highly contested by both sides, the claimant as well as Argentina. So claimant brought in an expert, Jose Alvarez, Professor Jose Alvarez, and Argentina brought in Dean Anne Maria Slaughter. So both of them submitted evidence before the tribunal. The tribunal ultimately concluded that there was no total economic and social consequences because of the crisis, right? So then the tribunal stated that so the conditions were not so grave that we could still let go of the obligation that was imposed on Argentina by the treaty. So to that extent, we could see that the tribunal had sided with Argentina, but one of the contention was the claimant stated that even when they take the defensive plea of necessity, it has to be taken only for limited grounds, which would be war or something that threatened the existence of the very state itself. So that was a contention taken by claimant, and none of these grounds are present, and therefore there is no essential interest that this, Argentina was trying to protect. This is what the claimant was saying. So then the tribunal also stated that yes, there was economic crisis, but not that thing that the state can invoke that an essential interest had to be protected, and that is why it adopted the measure. Essentially, this debate or the contest between claimant and Argentina with regard to what is the essential interest of this, what is the essential interest that Argentina is trying to protect, boiled down to the interpretation of Article 11. So here Article 11 says that the countries contracting parties that had signed the BIT can take measures and that would preclude the violation of any other provisions of BIT. Now the question boiled down to whether what amounts to something that is that Argentina considers to be an essential interest, whether it can unilaterally take a call on that, or does it have to be or are there any requirements for under which Argentina can defend its measure, right? So basically Article 11 had to be interpreted. So in this case again Jose Alvarez were saying that Article 11 is not a self-judging clause. When it is not self-judging clause, then Argentina cannot unilaterally take a decision as to what is its essential interest, what it is trying to protect, and that can preclude the wrongfulness of its measures. Now, Dean Anne Maria Slaughter was saying that Article 11 had to be interpreted broadly, and this is something where the tribunal does not have a role to look into the requirement of what is an essential requirement, but rather the tribunal should only look at whether the measures are adopted in good faith. So Dean Anne Maria Slaughter's statement was that the tribunal's discretion is limited to looking at whether the measures were taken in good faith. But Jose Alvarez was saying that it's not a self-judging clause as well. In that regard, the claimant adduced evidence. They looked at the treaties that the US has signed with other countries. Now, this was a case under US-Argentina BIT, right? So, in the another treaty that US had signed with Russia or with Bahrain, the self-judging nature was explicitly worded in the treaty provision itself, which was absent in US-Argentina BIT. So, this was something that the claimant relied on, saying that since the self-judging the self-judging nature of the provision was not worded explicitly in US-Argentina BIT, that itself shows that it is not a self-judging clause. Especially in the US-Russia BIT, it was clarified in the treaty provision itself that the countries will take a call on what are the measures that it finds to be essential interest and that it can protect, and those measures cannot be considered to be violation of the treaty provisions. So that is what was written explicitly in Russia-US BIT. Now here, essentially the tribunal had to decide between these conflicting opinions, and it had to take a call or decide on whether Article 11 is a self-judging provision or not. So then in that case, we can see the tribunal taking a reference to ICJ's decision in Nicaragua case. So Nicaragua case was a case that was pursuant to US Nicaragua's FCN treaty, 1956 FCN treaty. So it had a provision at Article 21, very similar to, but the wording was not exactly same as that of Article 21 of GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. So GATT sort of gives you national security exception in Article 21, right? So the Article 21 of this FCN treaty was very similar provision, but not exactly the same. So the ICJ brought in this distinction because you could see under Article 21 of GATT, there's the self-judging nature is written, where you say that what the contracting party considers it necessary, where what it considers necessary. So the phrase "it considers necessary" was given lot of weightage by ICJ, and that provision was absent in the FCN treaty between US and Nicaragua. So there necessary was only written. So what it considers necessary was not there. So that distinction was brought in this particular case by ICJ. So that was applied by CMS tribunal in the present case also, CMS versus Argentina. So here what the tribunal stated was, it stated that since GATT and other provisions of other BITs are using a self-explanatory language, I mean self-judging clause through the language itself, so it will not consider the NPM clause under US Argentina BI2B to be a self-judging clause. If they wanted, the parties wanted, they could have made it a self-judging clause, but it did not make it to be a self-judging clause. So overall, after making this interpretation, then the tribunal stated that there was no total and severe economic loss that had happened to Argentina, and therefore CMS tribunal sort of stated that Argentina could not invoke the plea of necessity. To arrive at this decision, CMS tribunal also looked at other factor. It heavily relied on articles on state responsibility. So what we have discussed was Article 25, right? So the 25 requirements, it stated that that was not there, and it's accepted, CMS tribunal accepted the claimant's contention with regard to Article 25 2A, that the international obligation itself excludes the invocation of plea of necessity. And also CMS tribunal looked at Article 27 of Articles on State Responsibility, which stated that the precluding the wrongfulness of a measure can only happen as long as the circumstances exist, the situation of necessity exists. But in this case, the economic crisis improved, but Argentina maintained that those measures indefinitely. So therefore, that also the tribunal stated that because of that as well, the plea of necessity cannot be invoked by Argentina in this particular case. Now, Argentina had challenged this, I mean there is no appellate mechanism and all of that, but if you remember when we discussed the provisions with regard to ISTS few weeks back, we also talked about annulment proceedings can happen, and that can only happen in case of ICSID arbitration. So Article 52 of ICSID convention gives you limited grounds under which you can have establishment of an ad hoc committee to take a re-look at the original award passed by the tribunal, right? So here Argentina invoked that Article 52 under two grounds. One was tribunal manifestly exceeding its powers, and the second was tribunal not failing to state reasons. But with regard to the second ground, the ad hoc committee stated that no, the tribunal has given reasons, so that was not entertained. But with regard to the first one, interestingly, annulment committee also made a remark stating that the original tribunal, the CMS tribunal, sort of intermingled Article 25 of Articles on State Responsibility and Article 11 of US Argentina BIT. So ad hoc committee stated that these are two different things. So it cannot import the requirements of Article 25 for interpreting Article 11, because Article 11 is an autonomous treaty standard, that was one, and Article 25 was something that is different. So basically the ad hoc committee stated that Article 11 is lex specialis and Article 25 on state responsibility is a general law. So first, as per the annulment committee, first the CMS tribunal should have examined the measures under Article 11 and then go look at the measures under Article 25 of Articles on State Responsibility as well. So this is what the tribunal had ad hoc annulment committee had given its opinion on it.